Hi, this is Sue from the Mountain Canary Company. Ed's going to tell you a mule tale about here, kitty, kitty, kitty.
Hi folks, thank you for coming by and visiting again. You are gluttons for punishment, let me tell you. Our mule tales are like parables. They're a lesson within a story. So this might be kind of interesting to you because I'll probably get all together at the end here. It was a sunny morning, early. Sue was still working, and she'd get up. We had a routine around here when I wasn't packing. When I was packing, she'd get up real early, help me load up before I rolled out if she wasn't going with me. Well, and other than that, she'd get up 5:30 or so in the morning, go out, kick the mules out, so hit the pasture area out of the sacrifice area, and she'd then get a truck, get her car, and go to work. And about 6:30 or 7 o'clock, I'd roll out, get a cup of coffee, go out, and start my chores and fiddle around and bring them in. If it's been like 2 hours or so, we put them on pasture. Well, this morning in particular, I was going to leave them go a little longer because we had a farrier coming at 9. So I jumped out of bed there early. It was pretty early that morning, about 6:30 or so. Made me up a cup of coffee, wandered out, put the feed pans up so they can get their early morning pellets and for vitamins and so forth. And headed out, said, okay girls, it's time to go to the barn. So they all kind of walked in. They're like little milk cows anymore. They kind of walk in, and as they go by, I position myself so I could take a look at them and look them over to see if there's been anything they've dinged, anything, or there's any soreness, anything I could see as they go by me going into the barn. Well, as Maudie walked by me, I went, oh, Maudie, darn it, you got underneath that fir tree and rubbed on it. There was fur streaks, like pitch streaks on her back, which I was telling myself, well, I'm going to have to either get find some KY jelly I got out in the barn or something. If I'm out of that, I'll grab some butter or apple or bacon grease and rub that pitch off. So I wandered out in the barn and walked in there, and they were all in there with their heads in their feed pans, and I walked up to Maudie's backside and went, wait a minute, this isn't pitch, these are cuts. What in the heck? And I looked at her lower leg down by her gastrons, and there was cuts there. What had happened was Maudie had met a cougar that morning right outside my bedroom window over here. And I went, what the heck? I took a look. You could see where the cat had jumped at her and had not been able to sink its claws in. And you could see where it kind of went midair, and then there was off to the right, you could see cut hair and scratches, and at the back legs, you could see where legs were scrambling. I think what happened was the cat took a run at her, took a jump. Maudie was probably bore sighting the sucker as he came in and nailed it. You know, as the story goes on, I quickly doctored those scratches up and went in the house and called the Fish and Wildlife and said, we got a cougar problem out here. Well, the process of doing all that, it took a little while to get through the system, and and when I got a hold of the game warden, I knew him, and he said, immediately got the message, and he said, got the car and called in and ordered a hound hunter to come out. He said, I know Ed, and there's no way he knows the difference, doesn't know the difference between a dog attack and a cougar attack. So all that fuss was fussing. Here he comes later. And next thing you know, down my long old driveway, here comes this funny boom truck rattling down there. It's a gosh dang TV station. The knotheads want to put this on the television. So the game warden took me aside and says, geez, Ed, I can't say nothing in here really about this, etc. The bad, good, bad, or indifferent. He said, but you can. Because every time I say something, he says, we get death threats. The animal huggers give us death threats. Said, okay, I'll took care of it. So when they showed up and they interviewed me, I really sat back and thought about it for a while. Now, not that I can't talk, or save that if that's on my mind. But I thought about it clearly because I wanted to make a political statement. And the bottom line was, our laws in this state were not mandated by the Fish and Wildlife. They were mandated by a vote of the people called a referendum. So I kind of sat there and told the TV camera, I said, basically this is how it is. I says, here in Washington State, you're not going to do a darn thing about cougars or wolves that are destroying the stock until you start seeing them pulling them down, the kids at the bus stops. When they start tearing kids down at the bus stops, hauling them off to eat them, you're not doing a damn thing. Well, you and I both know that didn't get on the television, but it sure felt good me telling them about it. But that's not the basis for this story. What I wanted to point out to you is, mules are funny critters, and that's part of why these mule tales help, because when I tell stories about some of the things these mules do, then it's going to help you to get a little bit more into the mule psyche. Not all mules like all things. For example, it's not uncommon for mules to dislike small animals, dogs, goats, chickens. I've never seen much of a problem around kids. The kids, they kind of like kids a lot. But you still got to be careful because they're little. But mules tend to think little animals are worth squashing. So that's, I think, what happened. Maudie knew that cougar was out there. Everybody else had left because they were over up here eating. Everybody else had left and gone to another part of the pasture area. I think Maudie sat there and waited saying, here, kitty, kitty, kitty. Because she really dislikes dogs. I'll put a picture in over here of her scratches. And then, following that, I'll put another photograph in a little further down here of the next part of this story. Remember I told you she doesn't like small animals, dogs and such? Well, summer before last, we were going to go for a little ride out of here. I brought Maudie in. I was going to ride Maudie. I had her in. I was all brushed up, all set to throw a saddle on her. And Sue said, look at her leg. And I hadn't looked. Well, my gosh darn if she didn't have porcupine quills all through her foot, her leg, up above her pastern. Little character. A little scamp. She'd gotten into a porcupine. Again, I think it was, here, doggy, doggy, doggy. And went and stomped the stuffings out of a porcupine. Well, she took the brunt of it. But you never know it. She wasn't limping. She wasn't delicate at all. So we brought her in, and I called the vet. And first I said, I'll just pull some out. So I went to my pliers, and I took a look at that foot, and there was some of them broken off, some of them were through the hoof wall. And I went, you know, this is a little past my pay grade. So I called the vet. The vet came out, and she didn't sedate her, she just gave her a local, because Maudie stood there, handed her foot, and let her work on it. And she pulled all those darn barbs out. Some of those actually went through the hoof wall into the foot. So, but I'm trying to kind of get off to you is, realize when you own mules, not all of them are user-friendly when it comes to smaller animals. In Maudie's case, you know, that's just the way it was. She's managed just to kick the living snot, I think, out of a cougar, which they never did find. They hunted him down a long way away here, but he managed to get away. But I'll bet you he thinks twice about sneaking up on a white Arab mule again. So that's my little bit of words of wisdom for you today. It's been and so, tell you what, you guys, you got any more questions about this stuff, you can get a hold of us through the website. Also, if you got any contacts you want me to run through, you can contact me. I'll email you back answers, or if it sounds like something I can share with other people, I'll put it on YouTube. So, okay, thanks, folks, for coming by. I really appreciate it. We look forward to sharing our time with you. But remember now, I want you to always ride as often as you can. That's what keeps our trails open. And second, please ride as safe as you can. We'll see you now. Good day.